The big game is upon us here. The Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
And they're going through. They're talking about all the different storylines. But what is the biggest storyline to you guys? Of course, you have two black quarterbacks playing for the first time. You have the Kelsey brothers from each opposing team playing each other that are starters happening for the first time. Andy Reid used to coach the Eagles, and he kept getting
for 17 years
to NFC title games.
And he once did not retain Nick Sirianni.
Didn't retain Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
There's so many different storylines, as it tends to be in these Super Bowls, but this one in particular. So what's the most, what's the best one of you guys, the most interesting one?
I'm not a storyline guy. I mean,
Okay.
it just I'm
Just
ready
wanna
for
get
the
to the
game.
game.
Yeah, I'm a game guy. Because at the end of the day, we're not gonna continue to talk about the things you're talking. Like we're gonna talk
not after
about
the game.
the Chiefs are champions or the Eagles are champions, and how did the game unfold?
Right.
And so and it's one of my beefs with a lot of broadcasting of games. I think a lot of broadcasters who suck go into games with like predetermined storylines,
And they try to
and
keep
here if the Eagles are winning, here's what we're going to talk about. If the Chiefs are winning, here's what we're going to talk about. And it's just an annoying pivot. Let the game unfold. Don't talk about your narrative. Talk about what you're seeing. Break that down for us and give us a good game. There was one time, 1988, Kansas against Oklahoma in the NCAA basketball finals. I was a huge Oklahoma fan at the time. They had Mookie Blaylock, who was amazing, and it was the Danny Manning, Larry Brown Kansas Jayhawks. And they had kind of like a handicap kid who was like their mascot. And Oklahoma was the better team all year. Kansas made a run. And, Oklahoma with about maybe 6 or 7 minutes to go is in the lead. Everything's great. Brent Musburger's talking about the great Oklahoma team, way to cap the season. The game turns in the final 4 minutes. Kansas gets the lead. They go to the 4-minute TV commercial showing the handicap kid. I leapt off the couch and spit on the television. I wasn't having it. Don't give me your pre-canned storylines.
Well, Kobe here saying the biggest storyline to him is Mahomes' GOAT trajectory. He's the next best bet we have to beat Tom Montana, but a loss diminishes that. And then you got Wood saying that's why my boy Pink is the best thing on radio.
Damn true.
I mean, I'll go back to who was it that said Mahomes' GOAT trajectory? I think it's wild how just underappreciated he is. I almost feel like it's disrespectful how underappreciated his greatness has been. Here's a guy, he's been a starter for 5 years in the league. 5 AFC championship game.
It's crazy.
3rd Super Bowl. Greatest performance I've ever seen in a Super Bowl 2 years ago against the Bucs. I mean, if that's
Really?
Listen, the throws he was making and the plays he was making, he literally had nothing. Like the Bucs defense, it was like he was playing 11 on 28. That's how good Tampa's defense was, and he made reads and throws and escape pressure and sacks, and I'm like, Jesus. If this guy wasn't playing 11 on 28, or seemingly is what it was,
But
they would have had a chance.
Who underappreciates Pat Mahomes?
Well, okay. So first of all, he's opens as an underdog in an AFC championship game. And listen, I understand the ankle, but I had a better chance of winning the lottery without buying a ticket than Mahomes not playing in that game. He was an underdog to a guy who, again, yeah, listen, Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. He's beaten him 3 times head to head, but he hasn't accomplished a fraction of what Mahomes has accomplished.
Well, I mean, he's been in the league 3 years.
Yeah, and he's been to 1 Super Bowl. Mahomes has been
conference championship.
Yeah, Mahomes has been to 5-3.
Going into that game, he had a 3-0 record against Mahomes.
But no MVPs, no NFL All Pros.
I get it.
Yeah,
but again, I don't think
they're
it was
in two different
I don't think it
universes.
was outlandish to think that the Bengals might win the game.
No, yeah,
it's
but
a very close game. You don't have a penalty at the end. The game maybe goes to overtime and something else happens. I mean, it wasn't like some one-sided thing. And I thought Mahomes was incredible that game. But you did not know going into that game I knew he would play.
Yeah.
I knew he would do everything possible to play and play his guts out. But sometimes when you're hurt, it's just not enough. But he made it happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know who's disrespecting Mahomes. I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean,
Well, no, I'm just saying that he's. I'm not saying he's being disrespected. I'm saying he's not being appreciated enough. So it's disrespectful how we're not appreciating him enough. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
I mean, I watch that guy play, and I'm like, Jesus, this guy's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And I've seen Brady, I've seen Aaron Rodgers, I saw tail end of Dan Marino. I mean, he makes plays, reads, and throws that nobody else can make. And people are talking, well, how's he going to be without Tyreek Hill? How's he going to be? Well, dude, Pat Mahomes made Tyreek Hill. Are you kidding me?
I didn't go that far, but Pink, I tell you, I was way ahead of time. I said he's going to be better than he was with Tyreek Hill. I said that. Yeah, we're not going to lose a step. But another thing that goes into that, I thought about this too, is the word just literally the words best and great, and that goes into going into is Mahomes disrespected or not? Because if you say Mahomes is the GOAT, like Juan just says, Mahomes is the greatest quarterback he's ever seen. Well, people take that literally as the great, because great in sports are tied to accomplishments. That's the issue. It's not tied to if you're better than this person. There's not a living soul on this planet Earth that has lived on this planet Earth could tell me that Bill Russell was a better basketball player than Wilt Chamberlain. You just cannot. But he was greater. He won more championships.
He accomplished a hell of a lot more.
He accomplished a lot more. He was on better teams. Like, he was a greater player. Tom Brady, it's safe to say, and you don't know because Mahomes has a lot, but he's probably going to end up being a greater player than Mahomes. But there's nobody on the living earth that has lived or died that can tell me that Brady is a better quarterback than Mahomes. He's just not. There's nothing he can do that's better. You know what I mean? But he is greater. So it goes back to those two words, right? And even Juan just slipped and said he's the greatest quarterback he's ever seen. I don't know if that can't be true technically, because great is tied to accomplishments. Those are two completely different things. It
is a subjective thing.
I don't think it's that subjective as you would think.
It has a subjective element to it.
It has a subjective element.
Because, again, nobody right now is, nobody's really pushing Bill Russell as the GOAT. But championship-wise, team accomplishment-wise, nobody's close.
Listen, Bill Russell's one of the GOATs in my book.
He is in my book, but nobody's nobody's you throw up a post with Will Lee and nobody's throwing Bill Russell's name out there. They're throwing other names.
Oh, I am. Right. I am. Listen, if I need to win a basketball game, my starting center's Bill Russell.
And I've maintained that for a long time myself. Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it is somewhat semantical, but it's going to be somewhat subjective, because when you look at when you look at the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, okay, what is that? What does Juan mean by that? It's like this guy can do anything that the position demands, and he does it consistently. He does it when it matters, and so from a pure quarterbacking perspective, he might be the best thing I've ever seen. It may not last as long as Tom Brady did. It may not stack the titles quite the way Tom Brady did. But there's a lot of other factors that go into those things. So, I mean, there's certainly a subjective space to say Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. What he does on the field is not, I wouldn't take another guy over him. The combination of intelligence and ability and all that sort of stuff. It's fair game to say. I mean, just right now, he's hands down separated himself from everybody currently playing. And, he's almost in that place where, all right, what am I chasing? What am I stacking? And in that game, I mean, in that way, every season, every opportunity is massively significant for him. Because the reality is, if they don't win Sunday, the Super Bowl record goes to 1-2. And it becomes something that people chirp about that can try to diminish you if that's what they're inclined to do. But if he goes, he wins it, it's 2-1. It's it has a different feel. There's less that you can sort of attack on that.
And also I guess it's regarding to Mahomes and Bucks and Eagles as well. But every sport. Since when is it not enough to just be the best in your era? Like why as soon as someone wins in a sport, we have to go to He's the greatest of all time. And
Yeah,
even in your sport, even soccer, like whether it's Messi or whether it's your Mbappe guy, as soon as one or the other guy wins, somebody has to be the GOAT, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
Same thing with this quarterback. Same thing with the LeBron getting the thing. Like it's not enough to say LeBron's the best in his era, Jordan's the best of his era. Like we have to do these impossible things in our brain to compare guys who didn't play against or with each other.
And I'm usually very much on the side of the argument that you're making, and I do think that we are caught in like a real like premature anointment of these things at this point. I do think like you win one title, two titles. It's like, hey,
it's automatic. Yeah,
let's look at it.
Let's look at it.
But there is a place like LeBron has earned it. Like 20
no,
years
no,
or whatever.
For sure.
Messi has earned it. Like when he won the World Cup, however fraudulent that was in my opinion, like that was like literally the only thing in football he'd not accomplished.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I've heard people say that about Mbappe. I've heard him.
No, very much the narrative of Mbappe is he's next. He's not there yet. He's next.
No, I've heard GOAT.
That's premature.
Yeah.
To be fair, and he's my favorite player.
Yeah.
Like he is my hands down my favorite, probably my personal favorite player ever to walk the earth.
Right.
And but it's premature.
But you're saying in some cases like LeBron it's like it's warranted to some degree.
Well, when you get to a certain point, I mean, Mbappe's 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like let's hope that, because here's one thing you have to consider. Before Cristiano Ronaldo, there was Brazilian Ronaldo. He was at that point, when he was up to 22, 23 years old, he did everything that a player could possibly do. He won World Player of the Year. He scored basically an average of a goal a game. He was literally nicknamed the Phenomenon. And then he had a horrible knee injury. And he still kind of stayed productive, but was never the same. And, when we look at the resumes now, his doesn't stack up. He has one World Cup, but his goal. I mean, Ronaldo and Messi are like 700-800 goals. Ronaldo's like 400, and like when you start to stack it like that, it just doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
He's the big what if.
It doesn't add
and
up.
now, knock on wood for Mbappe, I hope he stays healthy and can do everything that we hope and we would want to see a player do.
Now, Wood just made an example of a guy you just mentioned because Aaron Rodgers said Aaron Rodgers looked better than Brady at one point. The problem with Aaron Rodgers is he's looked bad in some of his postseason moments, like games that he was favored to win, games where he's just looked bad and hasn't been able to get the job done, and that's the difference between like him and Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mahomes hasn't had those moments yet.
He hasn't, and Aaron Rodgers is like. There was a notion with like kind of like his arm talent and stuff like that like he was more, almost just more talented than Tom Brady, but didn't deliver as well.
Right.
And that's why it's not really a valid argument. But like it's almost what we were saying with Juan was saying. Like if you just look at it and say, well, hey, I could look at Aaron Rodgers and some of the throws he makes and some of the like whatever, and says, God, nobody's ever done that better in the history of the game, perhaps. And you could subjectively say that, but when you stack the accomplishments and you look at like, well, he kind of crapped out in his last half dozen playoff appearances, didn't play particularly strong games, then it all kind of gets diminished. Yeah, and that's what I mean. We could have these arguments.
You can
forever.
Forever. That goes back to my earlier point.
Yeah,
like forever, 20 plus years.
Yeah, I mean, let's literally enjoy what we have left of LeBron. Let's enjoy what we have left of Pat Mahomes. Yeah. But I will say this, like. Because I appreciate his talent so much, and I like him.
Which guy?
I was going to say Pat Mahomes. I'm rooting for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And again, you're a Chiefs fan for many years. Yeah. I'm a Chiefs fair-weather fan because I am invested in this guy's legacy.
Yeah.
I think he's that good. He's worth pulling for me.
Yeah.
And so Sunday, I'm going to be pushing my ass off for the Chiefs to win, primarily for him.
Yeah.
Because it moves him just further ahead and just makes that the whole resume and the whole career that much better.
That's another dumb thing I hate in sports. Like I'm not the fan guy. No, you can't come over here with us. You didn't believe us.
Where were you?
I don't give a goddamn.
Where were you when we were 4-12?
Come all on this Chiefs. There's room for all of you guys. And I'm on the 76ers bus. I'll have seats waiting on all of you guys. It's okay if you're not on the bus yet. Whenever we get the player that you most like or whatever, these seats are going to be warm and ready. You know what I mean? And the Chiefs Chiefs. The world is coming. They're here and because of Mahomes. And when Mahomes leaves, I'll probably be the only one left on the bus, but that's fine. When the next prodigy comes, the bus will be right here, warmed up,
Yeah, man.
gassed up, ready to go.
Gassed up and ready to go.
Yeah. But that game, we I think we all three are in accordance here. We have the Chiefs winning, or at least rooting for them to win. The Eagles are now up to what, a full 2 points favorites?
It's 1.5.
1.5 still.
Yeah.
Okay,
1.5.
So close to a. Well, but that's really saying that they're because it's in a neutral site. That's what saying they're really 3-point favorites. Really?
Well,
How does that go?
Well, no,
Or
you
true
home field advantages were 3 points,
Okay,
so
okay,
it's
okay.
like on a neutral site. In a neutral site, Eagles are anywhere from like a 1.5 to 2.5.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty.